Good morning, America. Today is February 12th, 1944. Today's newsreel will be about the life of the GIs. Today's war is fought by the GIs, an acronym for the government issued because all the men and women look identical in their uniforms. As many as 6 million people volunteered to fight in the war movement. Another 10 million were drafted. This was the first time in American history that women were allowed to volunteer for non-combat duties. More than 200,000 volunteered in welding of planes, tanks, and the construction of jeeps and the construction of firearms for the war movement. The American GIs became known as the best equipped soldiers in the world and went from civilians to soldiers in a matter of weeks. The life of the GI is a mixture between high stress and boredom. When in training between attacks, men live in various military posts or shelters constructed in minutes or ships on the seas. Their responsibilities included daily chores like mopping, washing laundry, taking out the trash, mending uniforms, and more. There was little to no privacy in the life for a GI in the dorms, since it was such a small and compact space they had to live in. The whole process became a huge toll on their mental state, and left soldiers feeling often very homesick from. This letter was invented so soldiers could receive their mail quicker. Another result of the war on the soldiers' mental state will be given to us by a quote from a pilot. "It would be nice to get home and stretch my leg under a table of mother's cooking. But all I want to do is beat those Nazis, so we can get at those little Japs." Others, if not hardened by the war, were often weakened mentally. Another quote comes from a soldier in the infantry. "No normal man who's smelt and associated with death ever wants to see another anymore. The surest way to become a pacifist is to join the infantry." There was even tales of men returning from the war and getting homesick and missing the environment of the fighting, or often another country that they visited to the front lines. That's all for today on today's news strip. Now to Jimmy.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
We're planting seeds and conserving for the war garden. Are you doing your part? Thanks, Jim. Other effects of the war. The Army has very harsh training and exercises. For example, the Army first introduced a formal fitness test to the troops weeks ago. Tons of men were needed for the war, but they were not ready for what the war was going to be. To get the men in shape for war, the Army implemented a systematic physical development program as part of the Combat Basic Training course. And the Army Ground Forces test was designed to assess whether the program was having its desired effect. The tests included 30-yard dashes, sit-ups, and even more. The reason behind all of this training and all the tests was to see if they had the stamina, strength, and speed for the battlefield. They even have a physical training school to whip the soldiers into shape. They even made it mandatory to take the test to see if you were worthy or not. And if you failed, you were not able to go to war.
Uncle Sam said he wanted me to join up for the draft.
Good, sign here.
Oh, say, can you see?
You could take a seat, sir.
Okay.
How do you feel being back home after fighting in the war?
I feel great being back home, and I feel really good because I got to help my country win the war.
What pops up in your head when you hear these two words, draft and war?
When I hear those two words, what pops up in my mind is me being scared and nervous, because at first I didn't feel like I would ever see my family ever again.
Are you still affected by it?
Of course. I still get flashbacks from when I was there fighting the enemies.
How many people did you kill?
I think I killed about 500 Japanese and Germans.
Thank you.
A Japanese kid doing his homework.
You a Jap?
See you in Pearl Harbor.